Adventure. And Penman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Fading out into obscurity, up to my eyes with all the absurdity. Bullshit that comes out your mouth ain't concerning me. You're never hurting me, looking foolish universally. Spreading disease with your pestilence, playing your internet game for the hell of it. Grasping at straws, you deem yourself relevant with crystal clarity, lacking the etiquette. I don't want to talk about your temperament.
This is Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm very excited about our next guest because I'm going to say they're badass, but they're actually bad wolves.
You're damn right.
And damn right badass. So, DL, welcome to the show.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. So, in between ending my workday and going out on Halloween shenanigans, I got a chance to check out your whole new album, that Kelly sent me. And that's why I say it's badass. Because, I do a lot of interviews. Sometimes I don't listen to the whole album. Sometimes I listen and, to get a feel. But, man, I had to listen to that whole fucking album because it was insane.
Awesome. That makes me happy to hear because we're kind of sticklers about the whole front to back album format. Like we really pay extra attention even after we're done making the music and everything to how the track listing goes and just the ebbs and flows of each song going into each other. And so, yeah, that's cool to hear that people still appreciate the album format in this day of the single.
Yeah. I'm old school too, so I'm that way. In the 80s, I would just sit on my balcony with headphones, buy an album because it looked cool. It had no clue what it sounded like, and just listen to a whole album cover to cover 10 times in a row, looking at all the artwork,
checking out the layout. Yep.
Full experience, the lyrics and stuff like that. In fact, I have a funny story based on something we were talking about ahead of time. So one of my first really, really heavy albums. And when I say really heavy, like I had Iron Maiden and Priest and shit like that, but that wasn't really heavy. My first was Venom, Welcome to Hell.
Nice.
Right? And so it had first come out. Funny story with that is I lived in LA in the 80s and the whole metal Sunset Strip scene then. I was at Slayer's first show ever.
No, you were?
Yeah, Metallica show ever.
That's a badge of honor for sure.
And so we used to go to this record store in the Valley called Oz Records. And there was this record clerk there that used to always recommend these albums to us when we walked in. And turns out he was starting this record label. You might know it. It's called Metal Blade Records.
Never heard of it. Weird.
And he handed me this Venom album, and I looked at him like, holy shit, that's cool as hell. But nothing was ever like that yet.
Venom had a cool logo.
Yeah. Badass. And nothing was like that yet. The most devil worship you had was Ozzy. I used to get made fun of in high school, oh, you're a devil worshiper because I wore an Ozzy shirt. It was stupid.
Yep.
But then I sat down and listened to this album, and I was reading the lyrics. I got scared the first time I listened to it.
Nice.
I'm reading the lyrics, and I'm like, oh shit. This is evil as hell, man.
Throw it across the room.
Right? Now it's so funny because now that album would be considered kind of poppy today compared to standards.
Yeah. We're desensitized.
Right? So yeah, when I was listening to your album, that's what I was feeling, not the scared part, but the whole, I had to listen to the whole album. It was even though it's not a concept, it's still a story. Any album's a story, even if it's not a concept album. And it just ebbs and flows. And I love how the sound goes from the unclean and the clean vocals to the growling to all these different things that I can totally tell you guys were just experimenting with your creativity, which is something I absolutely love.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even make it a point. We weren't like super adamant about experimenting or anything. The only thing that we went into this knowing that we wanted to kind of highlight is just growth as a band and growth as individuals, as players, as singers. And we just wanted to try, we wanted to have no rules. We wanted to try everything and anything, even if it sucks. Like, you know, this day and age, it's like everybody kind of can afford to have their own home studio now. So it's like you're not staring at the clock in some expensive recording studio, like trying to get things right. Like you have all the time in the world and all the resources now, and there's just like no excuse. And we made it a point to spend extra time on these things. And even if it didn't work out, like if it's just something you wanted to try and you end up throwing it out, who cares? Like you tried it and you can kind of move on. But that was the biggest marker in making Die About It, was just to have no rules and grow as a band, grow. There's a lot of things that you can listen to on the new record that you can tell that I tried new things as a singer. I did some rapping stuff. I tried some new screams out. Without wanting to get experimental, we sure did.
But, you know, to me, that's the whole key, A, of creativity in general, B, especially metal. Like, to me, from the very beginning, metal was about experimenting with sounds to come up with the sounds that we have today. And I remember I was playing guitar and my dad was like, you better give that up because you suck.
Yeah. I went through the same shit, but it wasn't my dad. It was my actual guitar teacher that was like, he pulled my dad aside and was like, yeah, this dude doesn't have it. He doesn't have a musical bone in his body. Because we were doing like the traditional bullshit, like the Mel Bay books, and it was cool. It was like informational or whatever, but that's not why I started playing guitar. I wanted to learn riffs, like
right.
I wanted to learn. I would walk into every lesson of mine, and the teacher would be like, so did you go over like what your homework was for the week or whatever? And I would just be like, no, but can you teach me fucking Astro Creep, like zombie or something? Just dumb shit. And the traditional teacher in that sense, like he was just like, yeah, this dude's not doing it for the right reason. So
right. And like I got sick of doing scales like that. Like I was doing scales for weeks. It's like, okay, you're just boring the shit out of me. So
felt like I was in school. That's what it was. It was bum,
right.
Bum, 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 bum. It was just like, Jesus Christ, I want to learn beautiful people, man.
Exactly. So, and I used to like just sit there and make sounds and experiment. What kind of sounds could I make with this guitar? And that's when my dad would be like, you suck. And he didn't get it, though. He didn't get what I was doing. And so that's why I love about this album, is because I could totally tell you were experimenting with different sounds, different things. And even if things dropped off and didn't make the album, it's those that dropped off that probably led to what did make the album.
Yeah. I mean, mistakes even push you in a certain direction. And yeah, I don't know. It was just like I kind of have been telling everybody that this felt like, even though it wasn't, this felt like my first album with the band. It was cool to do Dear Monsters, but like the environment that I came into joining the band, it was just like kind of turmoil at that time in the band, and they were working on that album. They were about halfway done with that album when I joined the band. So it was just this like breakneck pace, hit the ground running kind of thing. And once I joined, I came to LA and we got in the studio and finished up Dear Monsters together. So that was like kind of testing the collaborative waters or whatever. But this one was just like, it feels like my baby this time. Like I got to co-produce it with Josh Gilbert and John. We all kind of put our heads together. And it was just like, I got to produce it from the ground up, from day one, from song one. It's like my themes, my lyric ideas, it's even so like riffs and drum parts and So I was like very hands-on with this record, and I'm probably because of that, I'm so much more like emotionally invested and attached to this material.
And I don't blame you, because, and it is rough when you come in, especially halfway through an album. And I think it proves something too, that on this album, you were allowed to have creative input, for lack of a better way of putting it, you know, and
Sure.
they treated you like it was a new band, that you were all new. That's the way I look at it.
Right. Because this band has gone through so much like public turmoil and legalities and just crazy shit, that like, I know that when I started playing music, or I started playing with bands, I never thought that I would have to deal with the stuff that this band has dealt with. It's just like weird shit that you never think about. And I think because of that, like we really wanted to hit a reset button on this album and come together as a stronger unit and just kind of present the band in a new way. But also that's the challenge, right? Like, but also keep intact what the core of what Bad Wolves is. And I think we did that beautifully on this album.
I think a perfect example that I thought of in my mind, of course, maybe not as bad to Turmoil and stuff, but Iron Maiden is, to me, a perfect example of the same. Like, I was an old school Maiden fan, Paul Di'Anno fan and all that. And Bruce was great that first album, and I thought, wow, it was great. But I was still like, yeah, Paul Di'Anno, you know?
Yeah. No, I get it. Like, there's nobody is like super. If you're already invested in a band, and it's like, say it's your favorite band or whatever, like you said, my Iron Maiden, it's tough because like I totally get that. Like I've had scenarios where I feel the same way, where you get invested in the lineup of a band, and member changes are tough, especially like a frontman lead singer change. Like that's pretty jarring for a lot of people. And you know, at the end of the day, it's like, first record, I can see like, you know, you got to kind of dip your toe in the water and see what it's like. But at this point, like I was just talking with my wife about this, it kind of blew my mind, because I'd never really think about it, because we're always just going, and I don't really think about time too much. But yeah, I mean, we're going on, I've been in the band for 3 years now, and two albums in, and I feel like we've kind of split the difference at this point. So like,
yeah,
you know, if you're a true Bad Wolves fan and you love what the band does, regardless of voice on the music, I think that you'd be happy to see where the band is at, and to know that this is a healthy working environment, and everybody's happy, and we're like stoked to be making the art that we're making. And yeah, it just feels good, man. So I feel like, you know, true Bad Wolves fans, they stick with us, and anybody that says otherwise, then I don't think that they're really a fan of the band to begin with. They might have just been a fan of the ex-member or whatever. So
exactly.
It's a big sandbox, man. There's room for everybody. Who gives a shit?
No doubt. And that's why I compared it to Maiden. And even in my example, it's like, but after a little while, and it wasn't a long while, all of us hardcore Maiden fans, we're still hardcore Maiden fans.
Still love Maiden. Yeah, exactly.
You know, it just evolved. It's not like it changed. It evolved. It's still Maiden. It's still Bad Wolves. Mm-hmm. It's just a better version.
You're damn right. See? Boom. See? I just spill my coffee on myself. Yeah, man, it is. It is. To some. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from anybody, and especially like the back catalog. The back catalog with Tommy and like really sick shit. I would have never been interested in joining this band if they didn't write such great music with the ex-singer. So it's
great point.
Both parts of it can be true. Like, Jesus, I'm so sick of hearing about it. It's
right?
It's fucking annoying, honestly. Yeah. Not like from you, but like,
no, of course.
When you go on the internet and stuff, and sometimes it gets so loud, and it's just like, man,
music shouldn't be like that. Like you were saying before, weird. Like this ain't corporate America. It's music. It's a band. It's not even a record label. It's a band. There shouldn't be all that bull crap. And you know what? I agree with what you said. If you're really truly a fan, you're a fan of the whole band and the music and everything. Like there's plenty of bands that have had change ups, and it doesn't change my viewpoint of the band. It just, it's just a little different. That's all, but it's still the same, which is the point you were making.
It's a band. It's a unit. It's a fucking team. Like, we can't make this work without John. We can't make this work without Doc. I mean, everybody has an essential role in this band, and it's not just one guy that's carrying it. So
I think the most important part too, and I think that's what made this album so great, in my opinion, is what you were saying before. Everybody being happy, no drama, getting along, not dealing with all the bullshit, because that stuff does affect you, man, as an artist, as a person. And like, you can't possibly put on a game face when that shit's going on.
Right. And that's not to say that like it's been all fucking rainbows and rose petals. Like, this has been really tough on all of us, like the member change and everything. That's, like I said, it was turmoil when I joined the band, and like that continued on throughout the Dear Monster cycle pretty heavily. Like at some time, like anytime we would release something, it would just be this like flurry, whether it was real or not, whether it was like bots on the internet or whether somebody was telling, but it was just like you said, it's hard to get into something when you're just like getting your ass kicked every day. It's just not fun. So this it feels like we're really happy now because it feels like a rebirth. Like we get another shot, and we get to do what we want, and that's like the biggest thing. Like, if you don't like what you're doing, why are you doing it? So
no, that especially in music, I never get that. Like, there are bands that I know for a fact that are in it for the business part of it, and like that's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
That sounds really boring,
right? Music's supposed to be a whole different thing, and it's a passion, and if you're just going through the motions, everybody can tell, the listener, the band, everybody, I can tell talking to you that you have a absolute passion, not only for the band, but for this album. And that is one of the most important things. And I know if listeners check out this new album, they'll have a passion for it too. Because listen, I've been a Bad Wolves fan for a long time. The first song I clicked on, I'm like, oh my God, this is badass. So,
nice. Thanks, man. Well, it's good to hear. It's good to hear. I get it. It's tough to move on, and it's tough to buy a new car sometimes, but once you get behind the wheel,
it's just like this, just like I say in radio. Okay. There's people in my industry that can't let go of 70s analog radio. I say they have WKRP in Cincinnati syndrome, which was this sitcom back in the 70s making fun of radio.
Yeah, I mean, you can use that analogy because I'm a studio recording nerd too. So like you can use that analogy making records. Like some guys still are just like, I'm gonna use amps and that's it. I'm gonna do it the hard way. And like here we are with like Axe-FXs and Kempers and like digital guitar amps that sound probably better now than real amps and shit. So I don't know.
Yeah,
to each his own, right?
There it is. Yep. And so how does everybody connect to you guys on socials, on the web, if they don't know? But more importantly, how do they check out this new album when it drops?
This new album will be anywhere and everywhere, all DSPs. It'll be on Spotify, Deezer, Apple, you name it, all that stuff, YouTube, and anything Bad Wolves related that is in terms of tour or merchandise or whatever, anything you need to get your Bad Wolves fill, just go to badwolvesnation.com or any of our socials. We have Instagram, TikTok, fucking whatever, all the crap that the kids are spinning nowadays. And
totally right.
Yeah, I mean we're pretty shitty at it, to be honest with you. Like it takes a certain kind of person to like be good at social media, and I'm like working on it. I'm still trying to figure it out.
It's honestly. A lot of work too.
It is. It's not like you can't just be a musician anymore, and that's something that I need to get over because it really frustrates the hell out of me. It frustrates like a lot of the band. Some guys in Bad Wolves are better at it than others. Doc is great at social media and connecting online and stuff. He's got his podcast. But like John and I, we're just like the grumpy old man. Get off my internet lawn. Like I'm so bad at it. But I do appreciate that people want to connect with us online and stuff. But we're weird, man. We're older band. This is kind of a young man's game, and we're an older band, and all of us dudes have like seen the internet happen. Like we were getting the AOL discs sent to our parents' house. So like, yeah, I'm still.
It's so funny you mentioned that, because I had somebody yesterday send an email to. He had an AOL email address. I'm like, I had to ask him, and I'm like, AOL.
Bro, my wife still has an AOL.com email address, and I just like laugh at her because I always forget it. And I'm like filling out paperwork. What's your email again? And she tells me, I'm just like, AOL. Jesus, we're old. Right.
Yep. Oh my God. But I do miss some of the old days where it was easier for a musician, but it's also easier nowadays for musicians to get heard. It's like anything else in life. There's the good side, there's the bad side, and
double-edged sword. But at the end of the day, I don't even know what the hell I was going to say about it. Internet. At the end of the day, they're going to hear about this album from the internet on this interview. Yeah. Well, no, you know what? Something that I've like, because we talk about this, we literally have phone calls, we have label meetings, band meetings. We literally talk about the internet and social media all day, every day. And I'm just still like of the mindset that I just want to bring the mystique back to the musician. You know what I mean? Tape trading. I want tape trading coming back. Dude, I just remember like all the stuff that I liked growing up. Sure, like what the singer's voice sounds like on the record, fine. But like I miss wondering like, oh, what does it sound like when that guy talks? Like what is this dude all about? And you just don't know, because there wasn't like, you couldn't just see them taking a shit and eating dinner every day like on their social media. And like I miss the mystique of musicians. It made them so much cooler back in the day. Now you're just like, yeah. I mean, obviously everybody's the same. We're all just human. These dudes just make music, whatever. But it kind of made your musicians and your heroes, like even sports figures, all that stuff, it made them like superheroes. And you kind of don't have that anymore. Well, it's same with radio, like radio people, like I'd rather have I call it theater of the mind. Like Howard Stern has a perfect example. If you watch his bits, they're not as funny. They're so funny because your mind is wandering at what's going on that's not really going on in the studio when you're listening. Yeah, exactly. So it's the same thing. And I do miss the mystery of looking at an album, saying it looks cool, having no clue what it sounds like, and buying it anyway. Same. Or a horror movie or whatever. Yeah. I think you invested in it more too, because you bought it, you would listen to it, and you would actually like it because you didn't want to waste your money. Yeah, that, or you could put the little blue sticker. Remember that CD store, The Wall? You put the little blue sticker on the back, and if you didn't like it, scratch the shit out of the CD and bring it back and say, I don't know, shit's broken, I'm gonna grab a new one. They had that lifetime warranty sticker. Yeah, there you go. The good old days. Just there's that old people stuff going on there. Well, you guys rock. I love what you did with this new album. I think everybody else is going to love it too. They got to check it out. You mentioned about merch. People can't listen to my show if they don't buy band merch, because that's the only way you guys survive nowadays. Pretty much. Yeah. And there is some cool merch you guys have, so everybody's got to check it out. You have any final words you want to leave our listeners with that we haven't covered already? No, man, just absolutely check out our new album, please. We would appreciate every single listen, every stream. And also, more importantly, it would help us out greatly. And we'd love to see you guys on our upcoming tour with Bush and Eva Under Fire, which are also our label mates. So we're super stoked for the month of November. And we're going to have some headlining shows going into the tour and headlining shows coming out of the tour. So we're going to be pretty busy for the rest of the year, and we'd love to hang out with you guys. We're not like, I don't think any of us really believe in like the rock star bullshit. Like, it's just, we like hang out at the merch booth. Come say hi. We'll sign whatever. We'll sign your baby shoes. We don't give a shit. So come say what's up. Check our shows out, and that's the most important for us.
I love it. What a great lineup for a tour, man. That is insane.
Good night of music. Yeah, it honestly like reignited my love for Bush, because I was like a Bush fan in the 90s growing up. I like loved what was it, 16 Stone, that had all the sick Machine Head and Glycerine.
Yeah.
And stuff. So like, and since then I haven't listened to it that much, but like the second we found out we're touring with Bush, I started digging back into the Bush catalog and fell in love with all those songs. But like also their new stuff that they're doing like currently is really sick too. They just haven't lost their touch. So we're super stoked and appreciative to be getting to tour with bands like that, and can't wait to see everybody in November.
Well, can't wait to see you out there. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Dude, thank you so much. Enjoy that beautiful background of yours there. It's, God, I wish I was there. It's fucking snowing here.
Is it really?
October snow.
It's
Here we
a little
go.
fucking early for snow. Like, I'm from the Northeast, and fuck snow in October. I used to hate on Halloween where I had to wear a winter coat to go trick-or-treating. Like, fuck that.
Yeah, my kids. that was my kids last night. What are you gonna do?
Right?
You know? With it.
There you go. Well, love it, and love the album, and look forward to seeing a lot more of you guys.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, man. Anytime, call us. We'll be here.
My pleasure.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is DL from Bad Wolves, and you're listening to the Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Looking foolish universally, spreading disease with your pestilence, playing your internet game for the hell of it, grasping at straws, you deem yourself.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.